The barn was silent at dusk, until his hand found mine in the dusty light. The sun dipped low over the endless Kansas plains, painting the sky in bruised purples and fading oranges, like a bruise that wouldn't heal. I stood there in the barn doorway, the air thick with the scent of dry hay and old earth, my boots crunching softly on the scattered straw. My name's Jake Harlan, 32 years old, born and raised on this patch of dirt that my daddy called home before the cancer took him last spring. Farmer by blood, mechanic by necessity, fixing tractors and fences to keep the world from falling apart around me. But tonight, as the silence wrapped around the barn like a noose, all I could think about was how everything inside me was unraveling. It started with a sigh. Not mine, his. Alex Reed, 28, the city boy who'd rolled into town 2 weeks ago like a storm cloud on 4 wheels. He was my cousin's old college buddy, crashing at the family farmhouse while he found his footing after some breakup back in Chicago. Writer, he called himself, with that easy smile and eyes like storm-tossed lakes, blue-gray and pulling you under. We'd crossed paths at the diner first, him nursing black coffee, me grabbing eggs before dawn. One look, and something shifted in the air between us, electric and unspoken, the kind of pull that makes your chest ache. Now, dusk settled heavy, the last birds calling their goodbyes from the rafters. I heard his footsteps before I saw him, soft, hesitant, like he was testing the ground. The barn door creaked open wider, and there he was, silhouetted against the dying light, his flannel shirt untucked over jeans that hugged his frame just right. "Jake," he said, voice low, rough around the edges from the day's dust. He paused, breath catching, and I swear I could hear my own heart pounding like a diesel engine refusing to turn over. I didn't move, couldn't. The maw of conflict yawned wide between us. This town, Eldridge, Kansas, where men like me, men who loved men, kept their truths buried deeper than the wheat roots. My mama, God rest her, had whispered prayers for normalcy even on her deathbed. And Alex, he carried Chicago's freedom like a badge. But here, in the shadow of silos and Sunday sermons, it was a weight dragging us both down. "What are you doing out here?" I asked, my voice gravelly, forcing steadiness as I wiped sweat from my brow with the back of my hand. The air hummed with crickets starting their evening chorus, a low thrum that mirrored the tension coiling in my gut. He stepped closer, the floorboards groaning under his weight. Dust motes danced in the slanting light, catching on his lashes as he looked up at me. Couldn't sleep, kept thinking about earlier, that stolen moment in the north field, when we'd been baling hay side by side, our shoulders brushing, laughs turning to lingering glances. His hand had grazed mine then, accidental-like, but neither of us pulled away fast enough. Now, in the barn's hush, that graze felt like a promise breaking loose. I swallowed hard, the taste of salt and regret on my tongue. "Alex, this ain't." But he cut me off with a step forward, close enough that I caught the faint scent of his soap, clean and sharp against the barn's musk. His hand, long fingers, ink-stained from scribbling in that damn journal, reached out, hovering. The world narrowed to that space between us, the air charged, heavy with what-ifs. Then his palm found mine, warm, rough from city work, but warm. My breath hitched, a ragged exhale that echoed off the wooden beams. In that dusty light, time fractured. His thumb traced a slow circle on my knuckles, sending sparks up my arm, and I felt the damn crack inside me. The years of lonely nights staring at cracked ceilings, pretending the ache was just fatigue from the plow. "Jake," he whispered, voice breaking like thunder rolling distant. "I see you, all of you." Tears pricked my eyes, unbidden, hot and foreign. I pulled him closer, our foreheads touching, breaths mingling in short, desperate gasps. The barn held its silence no more. It thrummed with us, alive. But as his lips brushed mine, soft, tentative, tasting of coffee and courage, The truck headlights swept the drive outside. Gravel crunched. My brother, Tom, home early from the bar. Panic surged, cold and sharp, like a blade to the ribs. I jerked back, hands slipping from Alex's, the warmth fleeing like a ghost. "Go," I hissed, shoving him toward the shadows. "Now." He vanished into the loft's gloom just as Tom's boots hit the porch, hollering my name. The kiss lingered on my lips, a secret bruise, while the night closed in, whispering threats of what came next. That night stretched endless, Tom's snores rattling through the thin walls, my mind replaying the barn's betrayal. By dawn, Alex was gone from the breakfast table, his journal left open on the counter like an accusation. "Headed to town for supplies," he'd mumbled, avoiding my eyes. But I knew better. The pull between us wasn't just desire. It was a reckoning, forcing me to face the man I'd hidden from myself. Eldridge didn't forgive secrets like ours. Not ever. Yet as I stepped into the morning chill, hoe in hand, the field stretching golden under the rising sun, I felt it. A quiet resolve blooming amid the dirt. For the first time, I wanted more than survival. I wanted him, and God help me, that want might just burn us both down. The days blurred into a tense rhythm. Mornings, I'd find Alex in the barn, sketching the beams or jotting notes, his presence a magnetic hum. We'd talk in fragments, about the city's pulse versus the land's slow heartbeat, about dreams deferred. His laugh, low and genuine, cut through the quiet like sunlight piercing clouds. One afternoon, rain pattered soft on the tin roof, turning the air earthy and alive. We sheltered inside, shoulders touching as we watched the downpour. "Tell me something real," he said, turning to me, raindrops beating on his hair like jewels. I hesitated, the words sticking like burrs. Grew up thinking love was simple. Boy meets girl, white picket fence. Pause, my voice dropping. But it ain't. Not for me. He nodded, understanding without pity, his hand finding mine again under the workbench. This time I didn't pull away. Our fingers laced, steady, and in that grip I confessed fragments. The first boy I'd kissed behind the grain elevator at 16. The shame that followed like a shadow, the nights I'd driven to the county line just to breathe. He shared too, voice soft against the rain's rhythm. The ex in Chicago who'd called him too much. The family back east who sent holiday cards but never asked about his heart. "Here," he murmured, "with you, it's different. Like coming home." The kiss that followed was deeper, hungrier. Our bodies pressing against the rough wood, breaths ragged. Hands exploring with a reverence that bordered on prayer. The storm outside mirrored the one inside me. Fierce, unrelenting, washing away the lies I told myself. But secrets fester. Tom noticed the shifts. My distracted glances, the way Alex and I lingered too long at supper. "What's with you two?" he grunted one evening, fork scraping his plate. I shrugged it off, heart hammering, but doubt seated. Then came the call from Pastor Ellis, word of unchristian whispers in town. My stomach dropped. Eldridge was small, eyes everywhere. Alex pulled me aside that night, face pale in the porch light. "We can't hide forever, Jake. But I won't run without you." The crossroads loomed, sharp as barbed wire. Stay silent, lose him. Speak truth, lose everything. As thunder rumbled distant, promising more storms, I realized the real hook wasn't the fear. It was the love, raw and insistent, demanding I choose. 2 weeks in, and the air between Alex and me crackled like dry lightning. Every glance a spark, every brush of skin ablaze waiting to ignite. I'd wake before dawn, the farmhouse creaking under the weight of unspoken words, slip out to the fields where the dew clung cold to my jeans. But he'd be there sometimes, waiting in the mist, journal in hand, his silhouette cutting through the fog like a promise. "Couldn't sleep," he'd say, and we'd walk the rows of corn, stalks whispering secrets as our shoulders bumped. One morning, as the sun crested the horizon in a blaze of pink and gold. He stopped mid-stride, turning to me with eyes fierce and unguarded. "Jake, this us, it's not just passing. I feel it in my bones." His voice trembled, a rare crack in his city polish, and he grabbed my hand, pulling me behind a towering silo. The metal warmed our backs, cool shadow enveloping us. I leaned in, forehead to his, inhaling the scent of earth and his skin. Salt and something uniquely him, like fresh pages and rain. Our kiss was urgent, lips crashing, tongues tentative then bold, his moan vibrating against my chest, low and needy. Hands roamed, mine under his shirt, tracing the lean muscles of his back, feeling the rapid flutter of his heart mirroring mine. He gasped, fingers tangling in my hair, pulling just enough to send shivers down my spine. The world faded to the slick slide of mouths, the hitch of breath, the distant low of cattle stirring. It was messy, real. Teeth-nicking lips, stubble rasping skin. And in that rawness I found freedom. For those stolen minutes, Eldridge's judgments dissolved, leaving only us, tangled and alive. We broke apart panting, foreheads slick with sweat, grins breaking through the haze. "Christ, Alex," I murmured, voice hoarse, thumb brushing his swollen lip. He laughed, soft and breathless, pressing a kiss to my palm. "Worth every risk." But as we straightened clothes, reality intruded. The rumble of Tom's truck on the gravel road, a rooster's crow slicing the quiet. We parted with a final squeeze, promises hanging heavy in the air. That ease shattered midweek. The county fair rolled into town, a whirlwind of cotton candy scents and Ferris wheel lights, laughter echoing under strings of bulbs. Mama's old quilt won blue ribbon again. Ironic, that patchwork of family values, displayed while I snuck glances at Alex across the crowd. He fit odd here, amid the plaid shirts and boot scuffing, but damn if he didn't shine, charming the aunties with stories from the Windy City. Tom clapped my shoulder hard that night, beer breath warm on my face. "Brought a girl, Jake? Time you settled." His eyes narrowed, probing, and I forced a chuckle, gut twisting. Plenty of time for that. But later, by the bonfire's crackle, flames licking logs, sparks dancing like fireflies, Alex found me. We slipped away to the edge of the lot, the fire's glow casting long shadows, the air smoky and sweet with burning pine. "Saw you with her?" he said quietly, nodding toward a cluster of locals, jealousy flickering in his tone like embers. It was nothing. A dance with Sarah from the feed store, polite small talk to deflect questions. But his hurt cut deep, mirroring my own fears. "Alex, it's cover. You know that." I cupped his face, thumbs stroking his jaw, feeling the pulse jump under my touch. "You're the one I see when I close my eyes." He leaned into it, eyes shuddering briefly, then pulled me into a fierce hug, bodies aligning perfect, his heartbeat thundering against mine. "I hate this hiding," he whispered, voice muffled in my neck, warm breath sending goosebumps racing. We stood like that, world blurring, until a log popped loud, startling us apart. Laughter from the fire, carefree, oblivious, twisted the knife. Back home, tension simmered. Tom started drinking heavier, questions sharpening. "That boy's soft, Jake. What's he really after?" I'd bite my tongue, tasting blood, while Alex buried himself in writing, pages filling with our story. Veiled, but I knew the heart of it. One evening, rain lashing the windows like accusations, he read me a passage by lamplight. His voice wove the words, lonely fields, forbidden touches, each syllable a caress, building to a climax that left us breathless. I set the journal aside, drawing him onto my lap in the worn armchair, the springs creaking protest. Our kisses deepened, hands urgent now, peeling layers, shirt buttons popping, belt buckles clinking. Skin on skin, hot and slick, his gasps filling the room like music. my name a plea on his lips. We moved together, slow at first, then desperate, the chair rocking, rain drumming a frantic rhythm. Release came in waves, shuddering. His cry swallowed by my shoulder, my groan lost in his hair. After, tangled and spent, he traced patterns on my chest, whispering, "I love you, Jake. Say it back." The word stuck, fear's grip iron tight. "I can't lose you," I managed, but it wasn't enough. Hurt flashed in his eyes, quick and sharp, before he masked it with a smile. "Then don't." The breaking point brewed at church Sunday. Pastor Ellis's sermon thundered on sins of the flesh. Eyes lingering too long on our pew. Whispers rippled, old Mrs. Grady's glare, Tom's fidgeting. Alex's hand brushed mine under the hymnal, a defiant spark, but I yanked away, panic surging. Outside, under the steeple's shadow, he confronted me, voice low and edged. "We're cowards if we stop now." "No," I snapped, gravel crunching underfoot, chest heaving. "We're surviving." But his tears, hot, unchecked, shattered me. He turned, walking into the dust-choked street, leaving me hollow. That night, alone in the barn, hammer forgotten in my hand, I punched the wall, knuckles splitting, blood warm and coppery. The pain grounded me, a reminder. Love like ours demanded blood, one way or another. By week's end, resolve hardened. I found him at the creek, skipping stones, face drawn. "I'm in," I said simply, dropping to one knee in the mud. Not a proposal, but a vow. He pulled me up, kissed salty with tears, bodies colliding in the shallow water, wet jeans clinging, laughter bubbling through sobs. For a moment, the creek's murmur drowned the world's roar. But Tom was waiting when we returned, face thunderous, a crumpled letter in his fist. Alex's journal page, torn from the counter. "What the hell is this?" he bellowed, words spilling like venom. The storm hit full force, accusations flying, my world fracturing under the weight of truth laid bare. The kitchen light buzzed harsh overhead, casting Tom's face in stark relief. Jaw clenched, veins bulging like twisted roots. The letter trembled in his grip, Alex's looping script damning us both. His hand in mine, dusty light forgiving all sins. My stomach plummeted, cold sweat prickling my skin as the words hung exposed, raw as an open wound. Alex stood frozen beside me, color draining from his cheeks, the air thick with the metallic tang of fear and the faint, lingering aroma of cooling coffee. "Tom, listen," I started, voice cracking like dry timber, but he hurled the page at my feet, crumpling under my boot. "Listen? To what, Jake? This filth?" His eyes, bloodshot from the bottle, bored into us, disgust curling his lip. The room spun, memories flashing, boyhood fishing trips, shared beers under stars, brotherhood forged in this very house. Now it all teetered on the edge of ruin. Alex stepped forward, chin lifted, his voice steady despite the tremor I felt in his arm against mine. "It's not filth, Tom. It's love." The word landed like a stone in still water, ripples spreading. Tom's scoff, sharp and bitter, my own breath catching. "Love," said aloud, it felt both anchor and noose. Tom's laugh barked out, hollow, echoing off the linoleum. "Love? In Eldridge? You think Mom'd spin in her grave for this?" He paced, boots thudding heavy, each step a hammer blow to my resolve. I saw it then. The fracture in him too, grief for our lost parents twisting into rage. "You're throwing away everything, land, name, for some city queer?" The slur hit like a slap, stinging hot. Alex flinched, but I surged forward, fists balled, the scent of his whiskey breath fueling my fire. "Don't you dare. He's more man than—" Words failed, choked by the lump in my throat. Tom's eyes widened, then narrowed, a storm brewing behind them. Silence stretched, taut as a bowstring, broken only by the fridge's low hum and distant coyote howl. He deflated sudden, shoulders slumping, hand raking through graying hair. "Get out, both of you, before I do something we'll regret." The command landed soft, but it shattered us. Alex grabbed my arm, pulling toward the door, his touch the only lifeline in the chaos. Outside, night air slapped cold, stars indifferent witnesses as we stumbled to my truck, gravel biting our heels. I drove aimless at first, engine growling low, radio static hissing between country twang and silence. Alex's hand on my thigh grounded me, warm through denim, thumbs circling soothing patterns. "Where to?" he asked, voice small, the dashboard glow etching worry lines on his face. "Anywhere but here," I muttered, tires eating blacktop toward the county line. We ended up at the old mill, abandoned relic by the river, moonlight silvering the water's rush. Inside, dust-covered beams loomed like guardians, the air musty with decay and memory. We sank to the floor, backs to a wall, his head on my shoulder, breaths sinking in ragged harmony. "I'm sorry," he whispered, fingers tracing my knuckles, bruised from the earlier wall. Tears tracked silent down his cheek, salty drops I kissed away, tasting regret and resolve. "For dragging you into this." I tilted his chin up, eyes locking, his stormy, mind steady now. "You didn't drag. I jumped." The kiss started gentle, lips brushing featherlight, but hunger built quick, tongues tangling, hands greedy. We stripped slow, reverent, buttons yielding with soft pops, zippers rasping, until skin met skin, warm and urgent. His body arched under mine, gasps echoing in the empty space, nails digging crescents into my back as I moved inside him, deliberate, deep. The mill creaked around us, river murmuring approval, our cries blending in a crescendo of release, shuddering, profound, leaving us wrecked and whole. Dawn found us tangled in truck blankets by the water, coffee steaming from a thermos, birdsong piercing the mist. "What now?" Alex asked, voice muffled against my neck, his scent, sweat and river damp, comforting his home. "Fight," I said, simple, resolve hardening like morning frost. "For us." We drove back midday, sun high and unforgiving, pulling up to the farmhouse where Tom waited on the porch, shotgun propped casual but ominous. Heart hammering, I stepped out, Alex at my side, hand brushing mine. A silent vow. "Tom," I called, voice even, the porch steps creaking under my weight. He rose slow, eyes red-rimmed, the gun forgotten as he met my gaze. "This is me, all of me, and Alex. He's family now." The words hung, heavy with finality, the air buzzing with cicadas' drone. He searched my face long, then exhaled sharp, like a man surfacing from depths. "Damn fool," he muttered, but the edge softened, shoulders dropping. "Mama always said blood's thicker, but love, that's the real tie." He glanced at Alex, nod grudging. "Stay." But no more hidin'. Relief crashed, knees weak, and I pulled him into a hug. Rough, backslapping, the kind that mends more than breaks. Alex joined, tentative, the three of us a awkward knot, but real. Laughter bubbled, tentative, as Tom cracked a beer, passing it down. "To stubborn Harlans," he toasted, clink of cans echoing. But peace was fragile. Word spread fast, whispers at the co-op, stares at the pump. Pastor Ellis cornered me Sunday, Bible thumping his palm like judgment. "Repent, son, before the town's wrath finds you." His words chilled, stirring old fears, but Alex's grip under the pew steadied me. After service, we faced the gossips head-on. Hand in hand down Main Street, chins high, the sun warm on our joined fingers. Yet shadows lingered. Letters arrived, anonymous, venomous. "Sinners, leave or burn." Tom's protectiveness hardened, shotgun by the door, while Alex poured our story into pages, cathartic ink flowing. Nights, we'd lie in my boyhood bed, bodies entwined, whispers weaving dreams of escape. Chicago lofts, open streets. But roots ran deep. Leaving meant losing the land, the legacy. The real storm hit harvest moon. A rock through the window, glass shattering like brittle bones. Note attached. Go or else. Shards glittered on the floor, cutting my bare feet as I lunged for the rifle. Alex bandaged me silent, tears falling, his touch tender amid the rage. "We can't stay," he said finally, voice breaking. "Not like this." But surrender tasted bitter. As full moon rose, silvering the fields, I realized the conflict's core. Not the town, but me, clinging to a life half-lived. Dawn brought decision. We packed light, truck loaded, Tom's farewell gruff but eyes wet. "Come back when it's safe," he said, hug fierce. The road unspooled west, horizon calling. Our hands laced over the gearshift. Free, finally, but hearts heavy with what we left. Interstate 70 stretched like a vein pumping us westward. Kansas fading in the rear view, golden fields blurring to memory. The truck's hum vibrated through the seats, radio crooning Johnny Cash's Gravelly Ache. I walked the line, ironic soundtrack to our flight. Alex's hand rested warm on my knee, thumb tracing lazy circles, an anchor against the churn in my gut. 32 years in Eldridge, and now? Uprooted, raw, chasing a horizon that promised air easier to breathe. We stopped at a roadside diner outside Hayes, neon sign flickering eat, the scent of sizzling bacon and burnt coffee greeting us like old foes. Booth vinyl cracked under us, menus sticky, waitress eyeing our joined hands with a flicker. Curiosity, not hate, a small mercy. "Pancakes," Alex suggested, grin lopsided, trying to lighten the weight. I nodded, forcing a smile, but my mind replayed the farmhouse goodbye. Tom's parting shot, "Right, damn it," masking the crack in his voice. Over stacks golden and dripping syrup, talk turned tentative. "Chicago," he said, fork pausing midair, eyes distant. "My place is small, books everywhere, view of the L rattling by. You'll hate the noise." But his tone begged contradiction, vulnerability peeking through. "Sounds like freedom," I replied, reaching across, fingers lacing his. The touch sparked, familiar heat, and under the table, our boots hooked, a private tangle. The waitress refilled coffee without comment, steam curling like ghosts, and for a beat, normalcy bloomed. Two men, breakfast, plans unfolding. We hit the city by dusk, skyline jagged against bruised sky, Lake Michigan's breath cool and vast. Alex's apartment crouched in Wicker Park. Third floor walk-up with creaky stairs and walls thin as paper. Inside, chaos reigned. Stacks of manuscripts teetering, posters of Kerouac and Steinbeck peeling at edges. Air scented with ink and takeout ghosts. "Home," he announced, dropping keys with a clatter. Pulling me into a kiss that tasted of road dust and hope. Slow, deepening, hands framing my face as if memorizing. We christened the place proper that night, bodies colliding on the lumpy futon, windows open to street hum, car horns blaring, distant laughter filtering up. His moans mingled with the city's pulse, urgent and unashamed. My name a chant as I drove into him, sweat slick and fervent. Release shattered us, gasps echoing, limbs entwined in afterglow. "Here," he panted, tracing my collarbone. "We're us, no shadows. But cities have their own darkness." First week, I pounded pavement. Job hunts at garages, oil under nails a comfort. But the noise clawed. Sirens wailing at odd hours, crowds pressing like accusations. Alex wrote feverishly, our story pouring out, the barn's whisper. Pages alive with dusty light and stolen touches. Evenings, he'd read aloud, voice weaving magic, pulling me onto his lap, kisses interrupting stanzas until words dissolved into skin. Yet fractures showed. My calls home grew sparse. Tom's updates curt. Towns buzzing. Pastor preaching fire. Guilt gnawed. Sharp as hunger. Dreams haunted by silo shadows. One night, after a bar shift where drunks slurred slurs, I snapped, bottle shattering in the sink, shards glittering like accusations. Alex found me slumped, head in hands, whiskey burning my throat. Jake! He knelt, voice soft, hands gentle on my shoulders. This isn't you. It's all I know. I choked, tears hot and unwelcome. He pulled me up, leading to the fire escape, city sprawl twinkling below like fallen stars. We sat close, his arm around me, heartbeat steady against my side. Then we learn new, he murmured, lips brushing my temple. The kiss that followed was healing. Tender explorations, hands mapping scars, breaths sinking in quiet rhythm. Under the urban stars, vulnerability bared. We made love slow, reverent. The L's rumble a lullaby to our sighs. Months blurred, rhythms settling. I fixed bikes at a co-op, grease a bomb, Alex's novel gaining traction. Agent calls buzzing, deadlines looming. Pride swelled, but so did strain. His late nights typing, my early mornings wrenching, touches fleeting amid exhaustion. Arguments sparked small, dishes piling, whose turn for laundry, escalating to core wounds. You missed the fields, he accused one rainy evening, thunder rattling windows, his eyes stormy. And you miss your ex's spotlight? I shot back, low blow landing hard. Silence stretched, rain lashing like lashes, until he crossed the room, pulling me close. I miss us, he whispered, forehead to mine, breaths mingling ragged. Apologies tumbled, kisses fierce, bodies crashing against the wall, zippers rasping, clothes shedding in heaps. We took each other standing, desperate, his legs wrapped tight, gasps swallowed in the downpour's roar. Climax hit like lightning, leaving us slumped, laughing through tears. But external storms brewed. Eldridge called, Tom's voice crackling over line. They're coming for the farm. Debts piling since Pa. Heart seized. The land, my blood. I flew back alone. Alex's kiss lingering at the gate. Fierce, fearful. Home hit like a gut punch. Fields parched, barn sagging, Tom's face haggard. Banks foreclosing, he admitted over porch rockers. Beers sweating in hands, crickets chirping elegy. Nights blurred in frenzy. Fences mending, auctions dodged, but ghosts haunted. Empty pews, neighbors' averted eyes. Pastor Ellis cornered me at the sale, Bible clutched like weapon. God's testing you, son. Repent, reclaim. Rage boiled, but Tom's hand on my shoulder steadied. He's choosing life, bro rasped, pride flickering. Decision crystallized at dawn, dew-kissed tractor humming. Sell? Fight? Alex's letter arrived, come back. We're enough. Tears blurred the page, ink smudging. I drove through night, city lights welcoming, bursting into the apartment with Tom's deed in hand. Signed over, a fresh start fund. Alex met me at the door, eyes wide, pulling me down the hall. You chose, he breathed, hands frantic, stripping me bare. We celebrated raw. Kitchen counter digging into backs, his mouth hot and insistent, my groans echoing off tile. Body slick, urgent, love a fierce tide crashing. After, curled on the floor, city pulsing outside, I whispered truths. The land's gone, but you're my horizon. Yet triumph soured quick. Alex's book deal exploded, the Barnes whisper topping indie lists, interviews beckoning. Fame's glare exposed us. Tabloids sniffing, old Eldridge wounds reopening via emails, hate mail scrawled in familiar hands. One night, post-reading, crowd adulation fading, he confessed over wine. They want the tragedy, not the triumph. His voice cracked, vulnerability raw. and I held him tight, kisses trailing spine, hands soothing until dawn, bodies a sanctuary. But peace fractured when an Eldridge deacon showed, Pastor Ellis's envoy, Bible and bribe, come home, confess, redeem the Harlan name. Temptation whispered, old ties tugging, but Alex's hand in mine, steady, defiant, grounded. No, I said firm, door closing on the past. That night, with Tom crashed on the couch, Alex and I slipped to the roof, stars faint but fierce, making love under open sky, slow and profound, his whispers vows against my skin. Winter clamped Chicago in iron grip, wind howling off the lake like banshees, snow piling drifts against the apartment windows. Inside, warmth bloomed, fairy lights twinkling from Alex's shelves, the scent of pine from our scavenged tree mingling with mulled cider spice. Holidays hit hard, ghosts of Eldridge Thanksgivings haunting. Mama's turkey, Tom's bad jokes. But we forged new. Me basting a bird with calloused hands, Alex mashing potatoes, flour dusting his nose like snow. Tom joined via video, face pixelated but grin wide. Don't burn it, city slickers. Laughter echoed. Easy now, but undercurrents swirled. Alex's book tour loomed. New York, LA, spotlights calling. While I wrestled shop uncertainties, layoffs whispering. One blustery night, post-shift, I trudged home to find him pacing, contract in hand. They want edits, he said, voice tight, crumpling the page. Tone down the make it universal. Rage simmered low, familiar. Like hell. I pulled him close, coat shedding snow, kisses fierce against the chill, lips warming, hands burrowing under sweaters. We tumbled to the rug, fire crackling in the grate we'd jury-rigged, bodies igniting slow. His arch under my touch, gasps puffing white in the air, my name a moan lost to wind's wail. Intimacy deepened post-climax, whispers tracing vulnerabilities. His fear of fading into footnotes, my ache for roots reclaimed. Spring thawed the ice, but not the tensions. Tour launched, Alex jetting coasts, hotel calls crackling with loneliness. Miss your hands, he'd breathe, voice husky over line, guiding my touch in solo echoes. I filled days with freelance fixes, rooftop ACs, subway cars. Grease a constant, but city pulse quickened my step. Tom visited once, awed by skyscrapers, bonding over deep dish pies, his nod at our clasped hands a quiet milestone. Return brought strains peak. Alex arrived jet-lagged, crowds roar still echoing, collapsing into arguments. You're drifting, Jake. Back to the farm in your head. Words lashed, old insecurities flaring, Eldridge's pull versus Chicago's push. Door slammed, silence heavy as I stormed out, streets slick with rain, neon blurring tears. Wandered to the lakefront, waves crashing furious, mirroring turmoil. Hours passed, phone silent, until headlights swept. A cab, Alex spilling out, coat flapping. Don't, he begged, grabbing my arm, eyes wild. I can't lose you to ghosts. Rain soaked us, cold seeping bones, but his kiss burned, desperate, devouring, hands fisting shirts. We stumbled to a bench, hidden by willows, bodies pressing urgent. Zippers yielding to downpour, his heat enveloping me, cries drowned in thunder. Release washed clean, leaving us huddled, vows renewed in wet whispers. Healing bloomed tentative, therapy sessions in neutral offices, words unpacking baggage. My shame's roots, his abandonment fears. Progress showed in smalls. Shared journals, date nights at dive bars, hands free under tables. Summer scorched, lake beaches crowded. Our picnic blanket a island. Sunscreen slick skin, laughter bubbling as waves lapped toes. One afternoon, sprawled lazy, his head on my chest, heartbeat lulling, he murmured, "Book's done, uncut, our truth." Pride swelled, chest tight, and I rolled him beneath, sand gritty, sun dappling. Kisses trailing collar to hip, his arches and please a symphony. Love-making public-edged, thrilling climax syncing with gulls' cries. After, tangled and sun-warm, future sketched. Co-author credits, road trips west. But fate twisted autumnal. Call from Tom, stroke, sudden, hospital beep stark. Flew home, heart pounding, Eldridge unchanged yet alien. Amber leaves swirling, barn looming accusatory. Tom frail in bed, tubes snaking, but eyes lit seeing me. Knew you'd come, he rasped, hand weak in mine. Alex arrived next flight, grip steady at my elbow through sterile halls. Vigil stretched days, coffee bitter, chairs hard, stories shared in hushed tones. Boyhood pranks, lost dreams. Pastor Ellis visited awkward, prayers offered without fire, a nod to time's softening. Tom's rally sparked hope, discharge to farmhouse, us shuttling care. Me mending fences literal, Alex reading drafts by bedside, voice soothing as balm. Climax crested Thanksgiving. Table set sparse but full hearts, not platters, Tom at head, us flanking. Turkey carved, Grace said inclusive, toasts raised. To kin, blood or chosen, laughter flowed, genuine. But Tom's cough interrupted, wet and ominous. Midnight ER, diagnosis grim, cancer late. World tilted, air sucked vacuum. Grief's wave crashed private. Alex and I in the barn, ironic refuge. Bodies seeking solace amid haze scratch. Kisses salt tinged with tears. Hands frantic yet tender. His surrender beneath me a plea for anchor. We moved deliberate, breaths ragged. Release a brief dam against flood. After, curled in loft, stars winking through cracks, he whispered, "How do we bear it? Together." I vowed, voice breaking, fingers tracing his jaw. Dawn brought resolve. Hospice plans, Eldridge's tentative embraces. Neighbors with casseroles, pastor with quiet counsel. Tom's decline etched slow. Days of lucidity, stories spilling. Regrets voiced, forgiveness gifted. Loved wrong, maybe, he admitted one dusk, hand in ours joined. But loved hard, like you too. Final watch, bedside vigil. His last breath a sigh. Peaceful, hay scented from open window. Funeral packed church, eulogies honest. Tom's grit, our family's evolution. Graveside, earth soft under boots. Alex's arms steel around me. Tears mingling on black suits. Eldridge shifted, whispers to murmurs. A few hands clasped post-service. Return to Chicago hollowed us, apartment echoing absence. Nights blurred in numb routine, me wrenching overtime, Alex staring blank at screens. Breakthrough came Yule. Tree trimmed, lights twinkling, his manuscript complete. Dedicated for Jake and Tom. Lights in the dust. Reading it, words weaving our tapestry. Lost to love. I broke, sobs racking, his arms enveloping. We're the story now, he murmured. Kisses healing, bodies reuniting slow, profound. Skin remembering, hearts mending in candle flicker. Winter yielded to spring, scars fading to strength. Book launch packed, crowds applauding truths, us center, hands linked. Reviews hailed, raw, redemptive. Eldridge sent care. Tom's quilt returned, mended. We visited summer, farms sold but memories rooted. Scattering ashes by the creek, Tom's laugh in wind's whisper. 1 year on, Chicago thrummed vibrant, our lives woven tight. Me managing the co-op garage, hands perpetually oil-streaked but heart light. Alex adjunct teaching, workshops buzzing with wide-eyed writers. His novel a quiet classic on syllabi. Mornings started synced. Coffee brewing gurgle. His sleepy kisses over mugs, steam curling like morning mist. Love you, he'd mumble, voice gravel from dreams, pulling me back to bed for lazy tangles. Sheets twisting, laughter bubbling as sunlight slanted golden. Anniversaries marked milestones. Barn dusk recreated on fire escape, lanterns mimicking dusty beams, hands finding each other deliberate, slow, kisses built to urgency, bodies arching familiar. His gasps against my neck, my groans lost in his hair. Release a reaffirmation, sweat cooled in breeze. Forever? He'd ask after, eyes searching, vulnerable still. Damn right, I'd affirm, thumb tracing his lip, sealing with tender press. Trips dotted calendar. Road west to canyons, echoes of Kansas plains but vast, freeing. East to beaches, waves crashing like applause. Tom's bequest funded dreams. Writing retreat for Alex, tool upgrades for me. Eldridge visits normalized. Holidays with locals thawing. Pastor Ellis's nod evolved to coffee chats. Stories shared sans sermons. Conflicts embers flared occasional. A heckler at Alex's reading. Slurs hurled like stones. My fists clenching protective. But we faced unified, voices steady. Hands clasped. Walking out heads high. Home. Decompression raw. Showers steaming, bodies soaping slick. His mouth trailing water rivulets. Mine eliciting shivers. Love-making cathartic. Positions shifting urgent. Cries echoing tile. Climax a purge leaving us cleansed. Deeper growth bloomed in quiet. Therapy ongoing, unpacking layers. My farm boy armor, his intellectual guard. Date nights intentional. Jazz clubs smoky. Sax wails mirroring souls. Picnics in parks, ants marching. His head in lap as clouds drifted. Vulnerability voiced. Scared sometimes. I'd admit over wine. City lights twinkling below. That you'll wake and see small town me. He'd cup my face, eyes fierce. You're my world, Jake. Expansive as sky. Kisses followed, deepening to bedroom. Candles guttering, silk sheets whispering. His surrender beneath me a gift, breaths hitching in harmony. Post-glow, talks turned legacy. Adoption whispers, future kids with our grit and grace. Climax crested autumnal, book sequel brewing, our ongoing saga. Launch party intimate, friends toasting. To dusty lights and hands held. After hotel suite overlooking lake, champagne fizzing, we danced slow. His body flushed to mine, cheek to cheek, heart sinking. Bed beckoned, gowns shedding in heaps, explorations unhurried. Fingers mapping freckles, tongues teasing peaks, his pleas soft urgings. Union profound, eyes locked, movements mirrored, crescendo building to shattering unity, names chanted like prayers. Dawn gilded sheets, his profile serene, I trace jawline, gratitude swelling. Life's arc bent toward meaning. From barn's hush to city's chorus, love's thread unbroken. Eldridge's shadow lingered faint. Letters warm now, invites extended, but home rooted here, in us. Years layered gentle. Rings exchanged lakeside, vows simple. In dust or dazzle yours. Vows honored daily, arguments aired quick, makeup fervent, body's language of amends. Community grew. Queer book club, farm revival fund in Tom's name, us mentors to wide-eyed youth. Final reflection came porch swing evening, our own Midwest adjacent now, fields nodding beyond suburb edge. Alex's head on shoulder, book in lap, sunset bruising sky familiar. We made it, he murmured, hand finding mine, fingers lacing easy. Yeah, I breathed, kissed to temple, breeze carrying hay-scent ghosts. And it's just beginning. The barn's silence echoed distant, but now filled, not with fear, but echoes of us. Hands held, lights eternal, love's quiet thunder rolling on. In that dusk, world vast and kind, we sat whole witnessed, forever entwined.